Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in Harold. On earth as it is with Harold. Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Edward is approximately 15 yards. About 15 yards away. About 45 feet. Keeps glancing over at me. Like a little nigger. Me, a little nigger. So last time, booty pap boo 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 bum, ba ba bam bam ba ba bam bam bam. The thing about all this is that is a demonstration of the satanic rulership. Is that these things factually happened? Okay. As a matter of fact, as a matter of verifiable fact, I posted a banner in defense of the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. As a matter of fact, subsequent to that, William Joseph Prettyman and Joshua Jordan Schroeder became suddenly highly invested in my life. Okay? This news article features a factual account of what actually happened that day. I factually posted it. I am the person who posted it. My name was featured in court documents as being the person who posted it. And subsequent to that happening, people who have direct ties to the United States military factually became directly involved in my life. Subsequent to that, a series of events factually happened and factually occurred. I am presenting factual evidence and giving a factual account of what factually happened between the years 2020 AD and up until the present day, 2025, August 7th, 2025. And regardless of the veracity of my claims, the justice, so-called justice system, the law enforcement, the legal practitioners, the Department of Defense, the people who are the representatives of the American process, the American Constitution, are not investigating or punishing, criminals who are involved in organized crime. Instead, they are continuing to seek to persecute, to punish me by using and employing strategies that are common, known to exist within the sphere of intelligence circles. What do you know? What it took what it took them, MK Ultra? What it took for MK Ultra to have any sort of restitution granted? How were the innocent victims of the CIA compensated for the crimes which were committed against them by the United States government? It involved Canada, if I recall correctly. Somehow Canada got involved. The issue of compensation for the innocent victims of the CIA actions is complex and varies case by case, with limited instances of direct compensation from the U.S. government. Based on available information, the U.S. has generally not provided widespread compensation or formal apologies to the victims of CIA-related human rights abuses, such as those involving torture, rendition, or other covert or operations. They are unapologetic, satanic psychopaths. Instead, efforts to seek redress have often been blocked by legal mechanisms like the state secrets privilege, and most compensation has come from foreign governments or courts. Key examples. Oh, I didn't specify, did I? I do apologize. I was referring to Operation Operation MK Mockingbird's another one. Ultra specifically. Thank you for clarifying that you're referring to Operation MK Ultra, the CIA's covert program from the 1950s to the 1970s over the course of 20 motherfucking years that involved illegal experiments on human subjects, including the use of drugs like LSD, sensory deprivation, and other forms of psychological manipulation without informed consent. Limited official compensation. U.S. government actions. The U.S. government has not established a comprehensive compensation program for the innocent victims of MK Ultra experiments and human rights abuses. Let me help Grok fill out the fucking details here. After the program's exposure in the 1970s, primarily through the Church Committee and Rockefeller Commission, public outrage led to investigations, but direct financial reparations from the U.S. government were minimal. And if we could correct Grok's terminology to specifically reflect the terms that are more appropriate, this sentence should read ought to, meaning ought to is morally, ethically appropriate, ought. After the program's exposure in the 1970s, primarily through the Church Committee and Rockefeller Commission, public outrage led to investigations, but direct financial reparations from the criminal sociopaths and psychopaths within the U.S. government were minimal. In the 1980s, a small number of victims pursued legal action against the CIA. In 1988, 9 elderly Canadians, I knew there was Canada was involved, who were subjected to MKUltra experiments at the Allen Memorial Institute and blah, 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 received settlements from the U.S. government. Each victim was awarded approximately $20,000 after a class action lawsuit supported by the Canadian government. This was a rare instance of U.S.-provided compensation facilitated by diplomatic pressure from Canada. Do you see why I would email the International Criminal Court as I have? Why I would reach out to the Mexican consulate? Do you understand? Because the United States government does not care whatsoever about individual human rights. Let us proceed with explaining what happened. They strapped an ankle monitor to my leg. Cop kept intimidating me. I was freaking out. I had my gun at work. I carried my Smith & Wesson M&P 380 with a hollow point magazine containing approximately, if I recall correctly, 13 rounds, loaded in my pocket while I was at work. They knew about this, not because they're clever or smart, or not even because they respect my God-given right to carry a weapon. They knew about it because William Joseph Prettyman and Joshua Jordan Schroeder were acting on their behalf, feeding them information persistently, continually, because I'm sure even if those stupid fucking faggots, William Joseph Prettyman and Joshua Jordan Schroeder, even if those meandering, mindless faggot fucks, who, you know, Willie is known to have murdered 2 people that I knew personally. Okay? Known to have murdered, was sent by his parents, because if that man had the ability from a young age to act on his own behalf, he probably would have been an artist. He is a really intelligent person, and I would bet that my survival, despite my animosity towards him as having made the choices that he did, my survival has in some way hinged upon the fact that he has a divine spark of creativity inside of him, and that he still possesses the ability to testify against these fucking monsters, to extract himself from the situation, to deprogram himself. He has the free will and the right to do that. The free William right to do that and to go public. Now, I don't know to what extent these people, when they join up, whenever they're I mean, maybe they're fucking branded when they come out of the womb. Maybe they get a fucking implant in their brain. I don't fucking know how it works. I do know that the possibility of redemption and salvation is a persistent theme in God's creation. And all it requires is the belief in redemption and salvation. I escaped to Lone Jack, and I was hanging out with Willie, who refused that night to allow me to stay at the house. In retrospect, it all makes perfect sense now. Didn't want me staying at the house. Spent the night plenty of other times, but now I was on the run. I had cut my ankle monitor. I had fled the state of Kansas, trying to get away from these sicko fucking psychopaths. And I thought that he was my friend at the time. I ended up that night, after drinking and hanging out, I traveled just down the road. I didn't tell him where I was going, but I just decided to travel down the road to Lake Paradise. Lake Paradise. You see, you know why this pops up, right? It's because of the people here fucking with my traffic. How many people do basic fucking internet searches and automatically have to do a CAPTCHA? This is why. It's because they are interfering with my traffic. It's not because I'm like using a VPN. I'm not using a VPN. In fact, right now, I do have access to a VPN, but I am not presently August 8th, I believe. It was exactly 4 years ago. 2021. Look at that shit. Walnut Waters, bed and breakfast. Come feast on fish that were grown on human remains. Come feast on the fish from our pond, nourished from the remains of executed human beings. And they might be like, I don't know how the mob works. I don't care. My suspicion is that it's a lot like what you see on TV. And if that's the case, then as an executioner, he might just be killing like actual criminals instead of innocent people. He might be like responsible for like just getting rid of people in a more efficient manner than the justice system will allow. The thing is that I'm an innocent American defending his country, and they tried to feed me through that fucking grinder. Anyway, that's not what I'm talking. Well, actually it is. So Josh dropped me off here. and I hung out at Walnut Waters Bed and Breakfast, and I drove down this road, over here, got this road, and came back over here. I don't remember where all the exact turns are, but Lake Paradise Resort. I came over here, went straight to the dude who it's 2021. They were in the middle of construction, not just construction that involved revamping the resort. There's a new owner or something, but also the 5G tower. 5G towers. The 5G towers that went up by the bucket load in 2020 and 2021. Between 2020 and 2021. Oh, you know what? Yeah, brand spanking new. I was like, how long has that 5G tower been there? He's like, they just put it up. The soil is still fresh. And I was like last week. I'm like, interesting. 5G towers going up everywhere. This is an opportunity for what? Say what? Detail as much info as you can pertaining to scientific evidence of the effects of microwaves on mammals. You gotta pick the right terminology. Hold. The effects of microwave radiation on mammals have been studied extensively, particularly due to the widespread use of microwaves in mobile phones, Wi-Fi routers, radar systems, and to heat your food. The scientific evidence spans a range of biological effects from thermal to potential non-thermal mechanisms and includes studies on various mammalian species, including rats, mice, monkeys, humans. Aren't those all the same? I mean, humans are monkeys. Some monkeys are mice and parasites, and some humans are rats. The thermal effects of microwave radiation. Microwave radiation primarily interacts with biological tissues by heating them up. Microwaves are absorbed by water molecules, causing them to vibrate and generate heat. Microwaves. The specific absorption rate. The specific absorption rate, SAR. The specific absorption rate, SAR. Doesn't that sound like SARS? Isn't it? SARS? SARS-CoV-2? COVID 2019, COVID-19, SARS-CoV-19. Oh, no, I'm not talking about the virus. I'm talking about radio waves and microwaves. Hold on, let's finish. Interesting. Behavioral changes. Studies have shown that the high-intensity microwave exposure can lead to behavioral disruptions in mammals due to thermal effects. For example, a 1982 study on rats, squirrel monkeys, and rhesus exposed to microwaves found that behavioral changes such as perturbations or cessation of operant tasks. Let me break that down for the layman. Changes or halting. So disruptions, perturbations, or halting, stopping of regular behavior. Behavioral changes such as changes or halting of typical behavior. Okay, that's what that means. Were dependent on the animal's reaction to the absorbed heat. These effects were reversible once exposure ceased. Tissue damage, high power microwave exposure, and indicating disrupted mitochondrial energy metabolism. However, these effects were reversible within 7 to 14 days after exposure. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. 7 to 14 days after exposure. 2 weeks. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Microwaves, Wi-Fi, 5G. Non-thermal effects. Ooh, let's get into it. While thermal effects are well established, some studies suggest non-thermal effects, so these remain controversial due to inconsistent findings and challenges in reproducibility. Non-thermal effects may involve the interaction of microwaves with cellular components, such as altering gene expression or increasing reactive oxygen species production, without significant temperature changes, or without significant temperature increases. These effects are less understood and often debated due to the varying experimental parameters. For example, the frequency, the power, and the exposure time to microwaves, 5G. Cognitive and behavioral effects. A 2014 study on mice exposed to 9.4 gigahertz microwave frequencies in utero found gender-dependent effects. Male offspring showed decreased learning and memory, while females were unaffected. You can read it if you want. Oxidative stress. Increased oxidative stress markers such as carbonyl, indicating potential cell damage. Okay. Effects on the brain. Cognitive function. 2021. Impaired spatial learning. Changes in hippocampal tissue structure, and they were reversible after two weeks. After 2 weeks, twice. Beneficial effects at low doses. Interesting. Oh wait. Positive meaning there's a specific way in which science refers to positive and negative and neutral. But it doesn't mean positive in the way that you're thinking. Okay. Reproductive and developmental effects. Carcinogenicity. Microwave ovens, challenges and limitations in research, public health. Oh, guidelines? So, no immune system effects? Question mark. By the way, Grok is now a part of the Department of Defense. Allegedly. The scientific evidence on the effects of microwave radiation on the immune system in mammals, is limited and less conclusive compared to thermal or neurological effects, but some studies have explored this area. Below is a detailed summary of the available research regarding microwave radiation's impact on the immune system. Microwave could theoretically influence the immune system through thermal effects, such as altered cellular signaling. The immune system, comprising the spleen, the thymus, lymphocytes, macrophages, and molecular pathways, is sensitive to environmental stressors. So researchers have investigated While the literature is sparse and results are mixed, some studies have reported potential effects on immune system parameters in mammals. There's that SAR again. For 30 days found increased stress markers in blood. Damaging immune cells and cytokine production, inflammation, or immunosuppression. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so oxidative stress can indirectly affect immune function by damaging immune cells or altering cytokine production, potentially leading to inflammation or immunosuppression. Everybody knows what inflammation is, hopefully, if you've ever taken aspirin or any sort of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. Immunosuppression is exactly the suppression of the immune system. Some older studies suggested that radiofrequency/microwave exposure might affect lymphocyte proliferation or viability in vitro, but these findings are inconsistent. For example, a study exposing human peripheral blood lymphocytes to microwaves found no significant changes in cell viability or proliferation at low SARS levels. What am I going for here? What we're looking for, and I do believe, I may be recalling incorrectly, but I do believe that exposure to, and I'll get back to this shit, exposure to microwaves, for example, those emitted by Wi-Fi and 5G towers, which went up in bulk, en masse. They went up all over the world en masse in the years 2020 and 2021. I do believe that I came across an example. Oh fuck. I've been had. Oh, they got me. Oh. Too many. It's too many at once. Oh, how no. How's the hootenanny boo da bab didn't? Come on. Come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. Oh, lordy. Ooh. Shit. Okay, maybe I'll stop. Okay, I'll stop. Last thing. No, I'm just gonna stop. Fuck that. Fuck it. Let's go back. Let's get back to our task. This digression has been brought to you by fifth generation cellular technologies. Okay, so I thought I come over here, I talk to the guy, good lord. How long was I fucking rambling? Gee whiz. I pay him cash. I'm like, can I just give you, like, I'm just trying to sleep. Like, can I just give you like $40 and I'm gonna go over here and fucking mind my own fucking business? Is that okay? I just need to park my car and fucking have a place to rest. So I did. And having set up camp, my dumbass decides to get in my fucking van and drive to Oak Grove. And then, that's not all. So I drive to Oak Grove. I get a fifth of vodka, cucumber vodka. Good shit. Oak Grove is up here. Right here. So I drove from here to here, picked up a fifth of vodka, and drove back, proceeded to get drunk on that fifth of vodka, and then proceeded to do drunken, stupid things like freely expressing myself via electronic media. I can't say exactly, because I cannot recall what I did. There are very few things that I do recall specifically, but nothing that I did was outside of freely expressing myself and exercising my right to speech from that location. Okay, and then I got the drunken munchies. I remember this. I got the drunken munchies, drove my dumb ass drunk back to Oak Grove, and back to the fucking, and got some fucking stupid drunken munchy food from Quick Trip. And then came back, ate it, passed out. I woke up with a tiny bit of vodka left and an incredible urge to take a shit. And I started driving. I don't think I had any other. Yeah, I wasn't like concerned about where I was going at that time. My intention, actually, I am recalling correctly. I had to take a shit, so I started driving back to Oak Grove. That was the idea. I'm going to leave here. I'm going to drive this direction, west, and I'm going to go back to Oak Grove and take a shit at the fucking Quick Trip. That was my plan. And then figure out a fucking plan after that. Who knows? Didn't have a plan. But I was on the lam. I didn't have a plan, but I was on the lam. And as I exited, I drove down this 1000 road towards Klein. And at the end of it here, it's gravel. So this road has some pavement. There's a lot of gravel around this area. And then it turns back into pavement. And then the place where you turn... So I was in the gravel when the two Missouri State Troopers zoomed past me. And I immediately thought to myself, by golly gee, they're going pretty quick. They might be looking for someone. I'm going to start going a little bit faster. Where am I going to go? I'm going to go to the nearest place I know that I can feel safe. and I go back to the neighbor. So I go back to the neighbor of Walnut Waters, and I park in the driveway. Or I go back there, and these two Missouri State Troopers, having done a U-turn to follow me, without turning their lights on or their sirens, no lights or sirens, following me within 2 feet, traveling at a speed of no more than 25 to 40 miles an hour. No lights or sirens. On my ass. So, because I didn't hear any lights or sirens, I don't care how close you are, or if you're fucking breaking the law, by following me closely, I had no reason to pull over. And more so, I had every reason to be fearful of my life. I go back to Willie's house. I go down. They position themselves at the top of the hill, and they proceed to, and this is all I heard. I don't even know if it's true. What I heard was that they were evacuating the neighbors from their houses. I think it might have been Willie who told me that. So I don't know if that's true, actually. No idea. Allegedly, the neighbors had been informed that they ought to be concerned or exit their properties because there's a madman with a gun. And I summarily received a phone call from the state trooper. My phone rang. I picked it up. Hi, this is State Trooper so-and-so. What's up, dude? I said, I'm fine. He was like, it's a welfare check or some shit. I don't remember exactly how. I was hungover, probably still slightly intoxicated, actually. In fact, if they had tried to get me on a DUI, they probably would have got me on a DUI. With just an insane need to take a shit. Just the biggest shit. Like, just bubbling up in my guts. The biggest possible fucking shit you can imagine. Drunken after drinking, morning after, gas station food, shit. And I'm like, I don't. And so I asked Grog. So here's where during this, when I originally wrote this back in March of this year, I had given information into it, and then the information was disappearing, and there was some copying and pasting, and my connection kept dropping out. So I was getting DDoS attacked, and there was all kinds of stuff. So I was like, do you remember what happens here? Because I'm like asking Grok, like, I already put this information in, I think, or at least during this thread you ought to still contain this information. So this is a sanity check. Like, do you remember this part? Yeah, I remember the morning after. Willie and his mom playing pool. All that was legal anyway. See, okay, so this is actually... I don't think I've talked about that part. Have I? Shit. Oh, I think I have. I'm going to actually go through and I'm going to try to get better prepared. Where are we at? 45 minutes? Because the stuff that involved... Okay, so the stuff that involved going over to Vicky's house and there being a little girl there didn't come until after, because I would not have. I was on. I would not have gone. It was during me absconding from probation. That whole period of 2022, working with my uncle. Like I was with Willie I was at Willie's house, in fact, when I sent that message. What email message? I'll get to it, but it involved him showing me. I don't know how they do their magic, but somehow he knew that was going to give me more rope to hang myself. Somehow he knew, and maybe I am that predictable. I don't know how predictable this part is, but he showed me the film Captain Fantastic, and never heard of it in my life. But we got drunk, drank some beers, and watched Captain Fantastic in his room, up in his room, the same room he's had since fucking high school. That house, man. Next to where me and Buddy would sleep on the fucking couch when we passed out. 2 couches. Oh, man. Buddy always driving because his parents were rich. We regarded his parents as being rich. It was a funny joke because they took me to Amsterdam. Paid for my ticket. The only thing that I had to bring was spending cash. I had to get a passport, 2004, and money to spend. And we went, yeah. I don't know how many people in Lone Jack are connected. I have no fucking idea. And in retrospect, I don't fucking. What? I don't care. I don't give a fuck about money, about your fucking freaky, creepy, organized crime shit. What I care about is the fact that a very talented person who was my best friend died suddenly. I care that the shit that's happened to me in my life and to my children's lives is at the behest of criminal fucking psychopaths, and that justice ought to be restored to this realm. But yeah, so he showed me that, and after we watched it, it was like I was intoxicated, and I typed up. I'm not gonna pull it up now because I'll end up doing it later. But I typed a message. I typed an email and sent it to a lot of people. I typed an email about the film Captain Fantastic, and I sent it out to a bunch of people who were in my email list. Just all I had to do was go type the letter A, and whoever popped up under the letter A fucking shit. Here it goes again. Now I know it's them. Okay, that's enough for now. But part 20. I'm gonna come back on part 20. I'm gonna be more organized because there's so many details that are missing. There's the original thread. I had to like rescue, and what I mean when I say copy paste, I mean that the connection dropped out. The token generation from the AI interaction with the AI itself was being corrupt. It was being fucked with, and I kept getting errors that said sorry fucking something, and I had to hit refresh, and then the thing wasn't there when I hit refresh, and I was just, and so during a halfway having lost connection but still having the text on the like loaded into the browser, that's how I copy and pasted it. And I did it suddenly because it was going to be lost. So I'll do some organization, and we'll get back to this. Hello, viewer. Well, hello, viewer. Welcome. Oh, goodbye, viewer. Okay. I'm going to I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end this. Grok 3 some report that Grok 3 some report 19. Some report 19. Grok 3 some report 19. Oh. Part 19. Oh. I'm going to try to do it exactly 52 minutes. Ready, go!